Spoilers ahead. Spoilers ahead.
Welcome to a very, very, very special edition of Max Mike Movies. Because
so special.
It is beyond special. We cannot tell you how special it is. Actually, it is kind of special because Max and Mike... I'm Mike, that's Max.
Hi.
Max and Mike are actually, in a way, at the movies.
Indeed.
First time since... They don't think that's the movies.
Oh.
No. But since the pandemic started last year, we've been watching movies at home, which admittedly for our show is pretty much what we do anyway. But when it comes to new movies, we have not been out to see any in a very long time.
Nope. We figured we wouldn't be able to do a remake of our series in theaters now, but it seems we can.
And how can we do that, Max? How is that possible?
Because we are utilizing cutting-edge technology. Absolutely out on the cusp, which is what we are. We have discovered a fantastic new way to watch movies. You basically have an enormous screen out in an isolated field. You drive your car to this screen.
Or into the screen.
Or into this, well, that would probably be self-defeating.
Well, into the field.
Into the field, where we are outstanding.
To drive in.
Yes, you drive, this is where you drive in and then observe the movie.
Or so they tell us.
Yes. Now, this is pretty hip, pretty wild. You people probably haven't heard about this. Yes, we are.
I'm the hipster.
Yes, we are actually at a drive-in theater.
Where is it, Max?
I don't know.
Well, that's how you know it's a real drive-in theater. We're in Mendon.
Yeah, we're in beautiful Mendon.
We think. Yeah. To be fair, that's what it says. Yeah. I couldn't tell a Mendon from a Milford, but whatever.
Honestly, we're just taking their words for it. But we are allegedly in Mendon.
Well, by the time you hear this, we were in Mendon, but you don't know where we are now.
Oh.
And we're not going to tell you.
In fact, we're right behind you.
You did that last week.
I'm doing it. I'm going to do it again until somebody looks.
Anyway, tonight we're going to an actual, not only a drive-in, talk about a throwback to the past.
Yeah.
We are going to a double feature.
A late night double feature.
A late night double feature, although we will not be sitting in the back row because there isn't one.
No.
I guess somebody gets in the back seat. Yeah, but I don't want to do that. I can't see anything.
No.
We are seeing Free Guy, starring Ryan Reynolds and other people.
And some other people.
And if we feel like it, will also stay for the second feature, which is Jungle Cruise, starring The Rock, or Dwayne Johnson, as he prefers to be called these days. And, what's her name?
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt, yes.
Yes, which apparently we're seeing basically a combination of a Disney ride and the African Queen.
I hope there's fewer leeches in this version.
I hope there are a lot fewer leeches.
Oh, Mr. Or not.
I do wonder if we're going to have a family of Boons, Pat, Debbie, and Babs.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the backside of water.
What am I doing with my life?
That's a Bengal tiger, and they can jump 20 feet. Luckily, this one won't because it's bolted to the cement. And other such witticisms in Jungle Cruise.
Yep, but we are here in a drive-in. I think this is the first drive-in I've been to in almost half a century.
For me, it's been 52 years. The last time
almost half a century.
Almost. Yes, the last film that I was at a drive-in for, I was 4. I gave that away, which I've done before. I was 4. We were in the back seat of our 64 Plymouth, and the film, I was told, was Dirty Harry. But my sister and I only saw the cartoon before we fell asleep in our jammies. With the footies.
The little feetsies?
Yes, with the footies.
That's nice. I do not remember the last... But the drive-in movie I saw, I think the one I went to was on Cape Cod, and I don't remember what the movie was at all.
But, basically, we were given this idea by a listener, a Miss Carlotta Rothschild.
Who loves all things late night.
Yes, very, very late night. And she said, hey, I saw this article in a local paper where, I won't tell you, but the local paper...
near Mendon.
Well, is anything really near Mendon?
Milford is.
South Mendon.
And East Haverbrook.
But basically it was an article about the drive-in still operating in the Mass General Massachusetts area, and this was one of them. I think this was the closest to where we might have been at the time, but aren't there now and aren't going back there ever again.
No.
Does that make you happy? Anyway, we decided that we would see what this whole drive-in thing was about. If it was as romantic and wonderful as people remember it, or if it's just a bunch of people in a hot car with bugs outside.
I have to say, some things that are different. A lot of cars here are parked backwards.
Yeah.
You know, with the butt end of the car facing the screen. I guess they're sort of in effect, most of these are the larger vehicles with hatchbacks, and I'm guessing they're going to be in effect tailgating.
Yeah.
I guess with a radio. And, unlike in the ancient days, they don't have those little speaker boxes you hung on the windows, which means there is no chance that we'll accidentally drive off, dragging the pole behind us with the box still attached, to wacky hijinks.
Ah, yes, wacky hijinks. But, and it's very sad. It's one of the sad part of this whole experience that the boxes, their grave markers are still here.
Yeah.
So we are, in effect, in a little graveyard of poles where the boxes once lived.
It is depressing. Yeah, apparently now you just set your car radio to a particular station and they broadcast it to you.
Interestingly, if you don't have one, and some cars don't, you can rent one at the box office.
You can rent a radio?
Yes, you can.
Are there cars that do not come with just standard AM/FM radio built into the entire entertainment complex?
You know what? I bet you that the electric cars don't. Unless there's something built into the iPad stuck to the dashboard. Because that's a thing.
I'm sure there's an app for radio reception.
Yeah, probably. But, if you go past the beer garden on your right, you'll get to the restroom building, and there's a little sign that says that there's not only radio kits for rent, there's also jumper kits for when you've exhausted your battery, which we are hoping
we hope we don't have to, because we got a nice charge driving out here.
Well, not only that, but I don't imagine there's many 24-hour auto places in Mendon. Because we won't be mending our car, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be probably a shorter episode, I would think. But we are here at the drive-in. It is currently about 10 minutes to showtime. It's dark enough that we should be able to see a picture. Thankfully, it's cloudy out. There's a screen. It is currently smaller than screens we might see in a theater, or we're sitting further back.
Yeah.
But we're comfy in our car, and if we want, we can adjust our seating, and we can it's an experience. That's why we're here.
Yes, we are nothing if not cutting edge and avant-garde and rive gauche and
Max, you don't
Grey
speak
Poupon
French.
and
No.
Jean-Paul Sartre, Marcel Marceau.
Mais oui, Josephine, I'm as sane as you.
Yeah.
But so if you will stay tuned, we're going to take a little break here for about 4 hours.
Or at least for 2.
And then we will get back to you on our reviews of the hit films. At least a hit at this particular... I mean, it's a Sunday night and there's people here.
Yeah, it's a fair number.
So the Mendon Twin Drive-In, ladies and gentlemen, for Free Guy. And is that about Big Whale?
No, that was Free... That was the French one, Free Guy.
Ah, okay. So Free Guy and Jungle Cruise here at the Mendon Twin Drive-In. Mendon. Well, so here we are at midway through our double feature at the Mendon.
Let's all go to the lobby.
You already did.
Let's all go to the lobby.
You did.
What?
You went to the lobby.
Where am I?
You're in a parking
What's
lot
happened?
in front of a big screen.
Right. But I should be in the lobby to get myself a treat.
You did.
I did.
Yes.
Oh.
Did
I enjoy it?
Yes.
Good. Good for me.
Well, apparently the movie made a big impression. We'll get to the movie review. Yeah, there was a movie. Oh God. You're
sure?
Okay to drive, huh?
Drive? Why would I drive?
Well,
right, we're in a drive-in. Yes, okay.
Mendon.
Yes, Mendon drive-in.
Right,
yes.
so this is our midway point through our evening of double feature here.
We
at
just
the
finished Free Guy.
Yeah, Free Guy, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, because I have no idea how long our little trivia show lasts.
Yeah.
Right now, thanks to Oscar Mayer, we're getting some trivia.
Man, he runs a hot dog van. He tells me everything from...
Max.
Sorry, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I
and
haven't been to a drive-in in a long time. It's having strange and profound effects on me.
Yeah. So let's talk a little about the experience. So
Yeah.
how do you feel about the experience of the drive-in itself?
Okay, I got to point one thing out, and that is theater seats are more comfortable than car seats for just sitting and watching a movie.
I'm going to say it depends on the theater.
True. I'll give you that. But I'm talking about like the modern, big, puffy seats, the ones that I have gotten completely spoiled by and deeply, deeply love.
Yes.
I will put up with others, but they have to be very special theaters, like the Brattle or someplace.
Right.
But the big puffy seats with the cup holders and the footrests are much more comfortable than a car seat.
It's not entirely unlike being on a long road trip where the scenery literally does not move.
Well,
although it does change.
Only in front of you. Yes, It's a little off-putting. I gotta say, I like the broadcasting the sound to the radio, because if you have any kind of a modern sound system, I mean, mine is not like state-of-the-art or anything in my car, but it's 6 speakers and it's got a subwoofer. I assume that's why the car was shaking when there was an explosion.
Yeah.
Unless it was all the beans Mike had for dinner.
I only had some beans. It wasn't a lot of beans. It was just some. Shut up.
I also have to say, it's not in the summer anyway. It's a lot nicer to have air conditioning in the theater as opposed to keeping the windows open and our little insect friends joining us occasionally.
Yeah, we're lucky because it's about 70 out, so it's pretty nice. It's a little damp,
it's a little moist.
Yeah, but it's not bad.
And it's not. I don't think we're near like a water source, so it's not terribly mosquito-y.
No.
A lot of crickets, though.
Yeah, I didn't really hear them. The people were actually pretty well behaved. Like there was a couple of times when some lights came on. I gotta actually give that up to modern technology because cars assume you want something lit if you do anything, and I'm sure people weren't doing anything on purpose. It was really minor.
It's just the light sensors in the car say, "Oh, it is dark. And you're doing something in the car. You must want some lights on."
Yeah, and it's no worse than some idiot turning on their cell phone.
Yeah,
so
really, it's not too bad.
People weren't making noise. If they were, I didn't hear them. I could hear a little bit out my window of some of the sound that was not quite as in sync with our speakers.
Yeah.
Like it was a little,
but not too bad. I didn't find it distracting.
The screen, I swore, was rear projection because it's really pretty bright.
It's surprisingly so.
Not.
No, you look over and you can see these massive lightsabers of cinema coming from a couple hundred feet back.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about how much juice that's taking.
Yeah. And of course, it's probably modern LED or something like that. It's probably not an arc light, but it's very, very bright.
Very powerful.
I will say the screen's slightly out of focus, which is really obnoxious because I kept trying to remove my glasses and look concerned, but I didn't have any.
I have to say I'm a little surprised. I remember a drive-in screen looking a lot bigger. And this one isn't that big. I mean, not in terms of, say, if you go to a modern movie theater and sit, even halfway, it fills up the world a lot more.
But unfortunately, we have to break here because it's time for our second film. We'll be back with you folks later.
We will.
Well, we are now back. We're back because we're not actually in the car anymore. Too cramped to do a full review, but
yes. And also, Mike kept getting all handsy.
Well, you said I could.
I didn't think you'd go that far, man. I mean, really, a little respect.
I like to put my hands out the window and wave at people.
It's so distracting.
It was midnight. It was past, but nobody. Anyway, let's talk about the movies that we saw at the Mendon Twin Drive-In.
Indeed.
In Mendon.
Beautiful Mendon. Right next to fabulous downtown Milford.
Well, so the first film on our little sojourn, which is French for sojourn, was in fact Free Guy, starring Ryan Reynolds and a cast of people.
A cast of many, yes.
So, Max.
Yes.
What did you think of Free Guy at the Mendon Twin Drive-In?
I thought it was fun. I mean, it's very much a summer popcorn movie. It's cute. It moves along well. It's surprising because it's a comedy, and yet it's almost 2 hours long. That's a little unusual. The effects are very impressive. Ryan Reynolds does a great job playing Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, he's so good at playing Ryan Reynolds.
I don't know who else you could get to play Ryan Reynolds, really.
Not currently. Maybe an up-and-comer.
Yeah.
Some kid.
I mean, let's be fair. Ryan Reynolds, very good looking, very charming, a lot of charisma. I have yet not really seen any examples that his range is beyond that of a Daisy Air rifle.
Not even necessarily fully pumped up, but there are plenty of actors in the past, in current Hollywood, that they can do themselves, and even that's fine.
Yeah, the story's fun. We'll get to this, but they kind of drop in some really major concepts that they sort of drop in and then go, neat, huh? And that's kind of it. Mm-hmm. The other performers, they're a lot of fun. Taika Waititi is in it. He has a small part, but my God, the man runs at the wall at full speed.
Waititi!
You know you're going to have to stop doing that.
No, I don't know any such thing.
You're making fun of the man's name.
No, I'm just bringing up, what are those little
Jawas?
guys? Jawa noises, that's all I'm doing. Yes,
yeah.
Jawa noises.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought there were some good performers. It's as deep as a street puddle, but what about you? What'd you think?
It was Tron meets the Truman Show.
Yeah, kind of.
Literally, that's pretty much what it is. It's you're inside a video game, you don't know you're in, then you know you're in, and then you don't realize people are watching you, and so on and so forth. It's harmless. It felt like they were almost kind of trying to do something serious, the whole AI becoming self-aware and being an actual life form. But then they kind of don't.
Yeah, let's cover the plot a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's basically, most of the movie takes place inside what is basically what I'd say a massive multiplayer online role-playing game.
I believe it's called an MMORPG.
Which stands for?
Nobody knows.
The thing I just said, yes. So one of them there things.
Yes.
It's one of the, it looks familiar. If you've ever played any video game, and I mean anything from Doom to Second Life to Halo to Zelda, anything, and anyone else, by the way, we've now mentioned your product, so you have to give us money.
Yeah, sure. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
We're going to get bumpy bucks, you know that.
I think we will.
I would say it's probably most meant to bring out the idea of Grand Theft Auto.
That's what I thought, except the city was too nice. But anyway, it's basically most of it takes place in a video game. It follows this character. His literal name is Guy, and he is an NPC. He's one of the background characters. He works in a bank. He's a teller, constantly getting robbed.
Good day for fishing.
Yeah, pretty much. They don't follow quite the same script. They can clearly change what they say, the character, or at least he can.
To each other.
True. And he just thinks the town, it's just perfectly normal that all these strange people in sunglasses, that's what designates a player, show up in his city and blow things up and have massive gunfights and rob the bank literally every couple of hours. That's the way the world is supposed to be.
Meanwhile, on the outside, there are programmers that are having somewhat of a legal battle because of people who came up with the AI that supposedly runs the NPCs in the game versus the big evil magnate who currently owns the company that's running the whole game, and it all becomes, somewhat complex.
Yeah, I see what you mean, though. It's very similar to Tron in that, yes, there are these scrappy little coders and a sneaky, underhanded, actually guy with a foreign accent like David Warner in Tron, only this time it's a New Zealand accent, stole their code and made a fortune, and one of them now works for him, and the other, a woman named Millie, is trying to find evidence that he stole from them and bring him down.
Yes, and somehow there's a video clip hidden in the game.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Let's not get to that.
There's a lot of MacGuffins here. But basically, she's going around and she runs into Guy, and Guy basically falls in love with her at first sight, like you do.
Yeah.
And he begins to, he ends up with a pair of she gives him a pair of the sunglasses, and suddenly he can see what the players see, mission names, stats, he can see health packs.
Yeah. And interact with them, too.
Yeah, and he realizes, he just thinks, wow, the world is more complicated than he thought. And finally, what's happening, as it turns out, is the two of the coders, Millie and Keys. Yes, one of those nerdy, handsome guys. Actually, he was from Stranger Things,
right? Where he plays a nerdy,
handsome guy works in an ice cream store. But or was he the jock, or was he the misunderstood photographer?
He was a misunderstood photographer.
Excuse me, Okay. So
it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Sorry, that's American Beauty.
Yeah. And
well, no spoilers. We don't give too much away because it's actually out in theaters now, such as the Menden Twin Driving.
Yep,
Yeah.
Minden. Basically, it turns out he is becoming self-aware.
Right.
Which, yes, is also like the web series Mike just quoted, Epic NPC Man.
Which, if you haven't seen it,
It's a lot of fun.
yeah, look it up.
Yeah. You don't want to watch too much of it. It tends to repeat a lot. But it's the same idea. It's basically a background character becomes aware and decides he doesn't want to be a background character anymore.
He's also, at the same time, still not aware that he's really in a game.
Yeah, he just realizes that life can be more than he thought it was.
Right.
That's kind of one of the big themes.
And that's where the plot goes.
Yeah.
Again, this is, if it was a
Yeah.
10-year-old film, a 20-year-old film, we'd go a little further.
Yeah.
But suffice to say, nobody actually ends up in the game the way Tron does.
Yeah,
Nobody,
they don't get lasered into the game.
which, frankly, was
never
a
mind.
good choice.
Yeah, yeah.
But the sad thing is that this whole idea of an actual new form of life is used for the
Yeah.
plot, but never really fleshed out.
Yeah, they bring up some thundering concepts, some
Yes.
major concepts about this, and it doesn't go anywhere. And I get it. This is not that kind of movie.
No.
You kind of know that going in.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's flashy. A lot
Yeah.
of people came down on films like Ready Player One, as
Yeah.
well they should.
Yeah.
And this, without as much pop culture thrown at you, gives a similar feeling because it's obviously video game.
Mm-hmm.
They leave out the sad teenage dystopia, which, quite honestly, I'm glad they didn't have that either. It's meant to be fun. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't bear any real close scrutiny of any kind.
No.
Like Max said, popcorn, soda, that's fine. That's as far as I'd go with it.
Yep.
So,
If we all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat, that's what we'd get,
yeah,
pretty
sure.
much.
It's not a dud, but it is milk
No.
dud-ish.
No, I think it's fun. If you want some brain candy, I think it's worth it.
Sure, and if you have a drive-in near you,
Yes.
like the Menden Twin Drive-In,
Twin Drive-In.
you might give it a try.
Yeah, I would not recommend. This would not be the movie that would drive me back into theaters, given
No.
the current situation.
No.
I honestly, Citizen Kane wouldn't do that, but maybe you feel differently.
But this was a double feature.
It's a double feature. Yes,
Yeah.
we were there for over 4 hours.
Well, I want to say first, before we get to the second film,
Yeah.
that the intermission was adequate.
Yes, it was very adequate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was enough time to get to the bathroom and back.
What was our second film, Max?
Our second film was. Now, look, this whole concept of film, this type of film, always sets my teeth on edge. It's a film based on a friggin' theme park ride.
Yeah.
It's another Disney theme park film, and I would like to point out that for every one that succeeded, which is exactly one up until this, which was Pirates of the Caribbean, there were a bunch of others. There was the Haunted House,
Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion. For all I know, they did one on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Or,
But that it was based on.
Yeah.
Well,
they don't usually work.
yeah. Well, it does seem to be like the thinnest idea to base. Like, so the ride itself, to be fair, Jungle Cruise is one of the longer rides at Disney World because it literally can't go any faster. So it's probably about 10 minutes, I would say.
Yeah. So, and also, it has no plot. It's just but neither
Not really.
neither does the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
No, it didn't.
It didn't.
Now it sort of does.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, Jack Sparrow.
That's right. He's actually in it now, and they've tried to make it a little less offensive
Finally.
after
by the
70 years or however long it's been.
Yeah, by the time this comes out, they probably have already retooled
Yeah.
Jungle Cruise to have all this stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like, for example, it no longer will take place in Africa, which it more or less did.
Yeah, okay.
Hopefully, all of the native scenes
Oh, dear.
will be gone, because
Yeah.
those are problematic.
Those are kind of
Best.
cringy.
Yeah, they'd already tried to scrub some of that stuff, and
Yeah.
it still was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And
But
this
anyway.
this one is starring Emily Blunt,
Yes.
who is always wonderful.
Yes.
And Dwayne Johnson. I was not going to describe him as any particular geological formation.
Yeah, sedimentary or otherwise.
Yeah.
Yes, in roles that will surprise you.
Yes.
Jungle Cruise.
Yes, in Jungle Cruise. Yes, The Rock plays a very large man,
Captain Frank.
Captain Frank, or Franco?
Frank.
Frank, yeah.
Well,
who runs...
His real name will come
Yes,
later.
true.
That's part of the twist. Let's not give that
Yeah, we
away.
won't give away the huge Shamalama Ding Dong-esque twist. It's not that big. But, yeah, it's... Dwayne Johnson plays a guy who, in fact, gives jungle boat cruises
But where?
in Brazil on the Amazon.
Excuse me, the Amazon.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, all the English characters, and there are several. It's the Amazon.
Yes,
There's
Amazon.
no O.
Yes.
It's Amazon. And we see him giving these tours, and he uses a lot of the jokes, and I use that term in the broadest possible sense.
Which I think are delightful.
They're very much sort of dad jokes.
Yes.
If you've ever been on the Jungle Cruise, it's there's a Bengal tiger. It can jump up to 20 feet, but we're 19 feet away, so we're safe.
Or
Or-
but this one won't because it's bolted to the cement.
Right, and there it is, the backside of water. Even that one, that actual joke, those jokes are in there, and a bunch of the others.
But then there's a plot.
There is a plot. It turns out, in a plot that is eerily familiar, if you ever saw The Mummy or any such thing, the Brendan Fraser one, there's a plucky English woman played by Emily Blunt, who I would watch her, paint a fence for 2 hours. She's terrific. She is so good, and she really does lose herself in the part. She doesn't just always do the same thing.
There's a magical plot involving a
Yeah.
magical dingus.
Yeah, there's a magical dingus that she wants to find because it will do wonderful things for the world. But this is like what is this, around World War 1936. I thought it was 1916, but I honestly don't know. And of course, she's a woman, so
She wears pants, which throws off everybody
that
in the
upsets
film.
everybody, including some people who you think wouldn't really care. But
To the point that Captain Frank, for the rest of the film, calls her pants.
Yep.
Which is actually much less acceptable in British culture because pants actually refers
means
to underwear.
Yeah.
Professor Pants.
Professor Pants. Yeah, so she and her comic relief brother,
Right.
who is, again, right out of, it's literally Rachel Weisz and whatever that other guy's name was
Yeah.
out of The Mummy.
Yeah.
He's the incompetent, kind of a fop.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Let's get to that. Let's
We'll
not
get
talk
to that.
about it yet.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting thing about it. But she's the super competent, really well read, absolutely convinced she's right.
Knows more than the Bainbridge scholars,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
And she knows that the dingus she wants is somewhere in the Amazon. And she, through a series of wacky mishaps, hires Captain Frank and his boat instead of Paul Giamatti.
Playing an Italian fellow.
Now, he is Giamatti, that is not a French name. So
No, but
Neither is it.
generally I think Paul Giamatti is a really good actor.
Yeah.
This perhaps is not his finest role.
This is clearly something, I want to make something my kids can watch.
Sure.
And I want to buy another townhouse.
And to be fair, there's actually not a point in the film where he jumps out and says, "It's me, Mario!" But
It's close. It's close. I bet that's on the cutting room floor or perhaps in a deleted scene.
okie dokie.
Because
Yeah.
wow, I've never seen a guy actually portray his own stereotype because he is Italian.
I guess he can get away with it.
I guess he can,
Sure.
and also because he's Paul friggin' Giamatti and he can do anything.
He's also in the film for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's not in much, but
No.
they head upriver, and there's headhunters maybe, and
German bad guys in submarines.
yeah, there's
in the Amazon.
there's Kaiser Wilhelm's youngest son,
Yeah,
who looks suspiciously like Benny Hill. I
from
think.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah,
See our previous episode.
the
Chitty
young
Chitty Bang
Benny
Bang.
Hill, and he's driving a German U-boat up the Amazon.
Yeah.
Which, big grain of salt. And there's, swashbuckling and
Yes.
leaping around, and a computer-generated Jaguar. And
Yeah,
a
well,
lot of bad puns. Cause
that was the best part.
Dwayne Johnson just can't stop himself through the whole movie.
Which is fine.
It's just fine. Or sorry, Captain Frank can.
Yeah.
And in, again, a move very reminiscent, and this is not giving a lot away, of Pirates. There are ancient soldiers.
Spirit of evil.
No, shush. This is not Thundercats.
But it could be.
It could be, actually, if you'd given the Rock more hair and a sword.
Any
but,
hair. Yeah.
Yeah, there's ancient cursed. Again, I think Spanish warriors.
Yep,
Conquistadors. No one you've ever heard of. Nobody whose family could sue them. And they're involved, and it doesn't really matter why. And it doesn't really matter what the Germans doing there.
But Dingus.
Dingus, yes, they have to find a magical MacGuffin.
And will they?
Oh.
You'll have to go to the Menden Twin Drive-In to find out.
And of course, there's the start out hating each other, end up not hating each other stuff between The Rock, Dwayne Johnson,
It's fine.
and Emily Blunt, and that's pretty much it. The plot, not very thick, doesn't matter. It's all about the characters, and it's all about the setting.
And Max, what did you think of the movie?
It's also popcorn.
Yeah.
Some of it is annoying. I mean, with Free Guy,
He means the parts that I liked.
well, no, actually, it's not the bad puns. That's fine. I don't mind that. It's just there were a lot more of okay, I call no way moments, way more than in Free Guy, I thought.
Strangely.
Yeah, which is weird because Free Guy is using basic computer programming as magic. But it's fun, and the chemistry between Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, I think it's real. I mean, or either they actually had it, or she is so good she created it herself. Because, Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry, you're very limited in what you can do. He's very likable. He's got a lot of charisma. He's got great presence, but he can't create relationships between characters the way she can.
I'm going to say, against all odds, the chemistry between Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson was actually really good. And I don't think it's fair to say it just comes from her.
You don't think so?
No,
Okay.
because he has to maintain his role and still, in his gruff exterior, still make it work. It can't just be from her.
Yeah.
And let's face it, the characters that Dwayne tends to play tend to be big, lovable lunks.
Yeah.
And he does pretty well at it. And it's like, I'm not going to give him an award for acting, but if he wasn't up to the task, this movie would have had no entertainment value at all. Because their chemistry is really the only thing in the film that holds everything together.
That is true.
Interestingly, there is an actual, all but saying the three-letter word, gay character in this film. A character who at one point explains to Captain Frank, and this is the brother played by somebody who neither of us can remember, who is saying, he doesn't want to be there. He's very foppish. He has suitcases full of, or I should say trunks, full of things like various clothes and actual makeup and stuff.
Evening wear.
And finally, Captain Frank says, why are you with her? You obviously don't want to be here. And there's this really nice little story where he says, after 3 people trying to be arranged in a marriage with me, I finally had to tell my family, look, my affections are in a different direction. They lay somewhere else.
And his family casts him out, rejects him.
Except
he loses all his friends, he loses his position. Everyone except his sister, who stands by him. And so, as he says, he would go follow her into a volcano.
Yeah.
It's actually very touching. And it makes him a way more interesting character than the brother in The Mummy, who's fun and funny because he's basically a big child. This guy has some depth to him. There's some pathos to his character.
But, of course, at one point they leave him behind.
Yeah.
They don't kill him. And there is no relationship.
No.
So it is a toe step forward. But the character very plainly... Well, that's not fair. He, as plainly as he can, without telling the children that he likes men, explains that he's gay.
Yeah.
It's enough. It's unlike LeFou in the live-action Beauty and the Beast, which apparently everyone was like, "Oh, they're a gay couple," and it turned out that at one point they danced together,
and
but it's done as a joke.
Other. Yeah, it's not really. Yeah, I don't consider that count. I don't think that counts. But.
Yeah, so it was interesting. I was not expecting it. Let's put it that way. That was about the only thing in this film I was not expecting. That being said, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fun.
I think your kids would like it. Yeah. It's that kind of film.
The villain is very two-dimensional. You kept expecting him to fall through a slot between the floorboards.
And he was...
It's basically, mwaha. Yes, I am an evil, foppish German.
Yeah.
Mwahaha. I'm surprised he didn't have a monocle and, puffy director pants.
Yeah. And then you get to the big thing, and the magical stuff is... It's fine. Is this movie going to win any awards? No, and it shouldn't. The CG Jaguar is a CG Jaguar.
Yeah.
You're not going to be fooled by it at any point. I guess the locales are fine. Mm-hmm. It's certainly not Disney's best effort, but... Again, if you're looking for something fun, if you're looking for escapism, it's harmless.
It's not Pirates of the Caribbean, because that was an eye-opener, but it's also not Haunted Mansion.
No. What it really is, I want to say it's Pirates of the Caribbean meets Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
That's pretty much that right there.
With a little bit of African Queen thrown in.
A little bit,
In that there's a boat and a river.
Yes. Thankfully, fewer leeches.
Far fewer leeches.
So those are the two films we saw. I want to do a little wrap up on the experience because, but neither of us has been to a drive-in. It's so far in the past that we can't remember.
Yeah.
So what do we think overall?
If theaters were open, I wouldn't go to a drive-in.
Yeah.
It's nice to go out and actually see a movie, not in your living room. That's fun. It's not a double feature sitting on a car seat, not that great.
I mean, depending on your car,
And I do have to say, even though you're at a movie with other people, it's not the same experience as being in a theater because, in a movie theater, I still remember when I saw Jaws for the first time, and in one of the jump scare scenes, I felt the entire row of seats slam backwards as everyone jumped.
Yeah, here they just honked their horns.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
There's much less of a sense of community. You can't hear other people laughing at the jokes or going ooh,
yeah,
ooh, or sounding upset at anything. Or it's better, but it's really half a loaf.
Here's what I would say to sort of sidetrack from Max. I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think, however, other people probably had a different time than we did because they brought a larger group with them.
Yeah,
there seems to be tailgating, which if you're not from the Midwest, basically means you don't even necessarily go to the game. You just go to the parking lot and you barbecue things and drink beer.
It's not just the Midwest. They do it in Philadelphia, too.
Okay, I don't know. I don't live there. And if you have a large family and you go do this, you might actually feel more of that community.
Maybe.
But it's just going to be in your small group.
Yeah. I mean, it's like watching it at home with your family. It's really just hanging out with your family.
Having a party?
Yeah, having yourselves a party.
Oh, cool. I also was surprised at how less annoying it would be. So I expected there to be a lot more noise, a lot more people wandering around, people doing dumb things because they're in their car and they don't actually feel that sense of community. And there actually really wasn't. There's a couple of people who left in the middle of Jungle Cruise. Yeah. And, there were lights on for a few seconds and then they were gone. It was no worse than somebody walking through. There were a couple of people who
left their lights on longer than they should have.
Yeah.
But as you pointed out with one of them, I think one of them didn't realize it because it's like a safety feature on a lot of the newer cars.
I mean, it was nice to get out. It was nice to see a bigger screen. The screens that we had there are not, I would say, not as big as some drive-ins and not as big as some theaters from the distance we were parked.
Yeah.
The other big problem is drive-ins did not take into account SUVs.
Yeah.
And so you have to, we went into one space and moved because I realized there was an SUV that was in fact going to be blocking part of the screen.
Right. And especially when they were tailgating, they had the hatchback up, and that made the car even taller.
Yeah.
So you really have to pick your position better.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did it.
Yeah,
it was
me
a
too.
good time. I wouldn't do it that regularly.
No. And, we lucked out, too, because it wasn't buggy. We both expected it to be buggy, and it really wasn't.
Yeah.
That, of course, depends on your drive-in. So, in general, sure.
Yeah.
Once in a while, thumbs up. Although, we don't do thumbs up.
No.
A big pony neigh. No, that sounds negative.
That really,
3 road apples for...
Yes,
no, wait, that's not it.
No. Look, we'll have to work on that.
If you've got a drive-in, give it a try.
Yeah,
you might like it.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for something very not deep, just something where you can... And hey, if you're going to watch it at home, if you stream it somehow and you have something to imbibe, I'm sure that would improve both films. We'll give,
I'd say sure, watch them. Why not? They're fun.
I'd say C+ for both of them.
I'd go as high as a B-, I think.
Thanks for splitting those points, Max.
I'd say they're solidly Bs, both of them. They're competently made. They move along well. I think the direction is good in both. I think the performances are good. It's just the story is very thin.
Yeah, and in some places you really, really can't think about it because it falls apart.
It just does.
So, but
that was us at the drive-in.
Yeah, so we hope you enjoyed a little special, and we'll see you at the Mendon Twin Drive-In.
Yes, we will.
Max Mike Movies is a co-production of The Voice of Max and The Movie Wrench.